بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful.
من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Ramadan Mubarak to all our brothers and sisters. We are coming to the end of the first 10 days, first 10 days of mercy, followed by, of course, forgiveness and salvation from Jahannam. When we look at this very blessed month, yes, the Quran tells us very clearly what the purpose is, and we'll go into that in a moment. But as more research is actually done on the benefits of fasting by the very latest of researchers, we find actually a multitude of other benefits that come from fasting. So it's not just the spiritual, which we of course know about, but of course there are health benefits. There are psychological benefits. There are benefits for every sector of society. So it is not just the spiritual element that actually benefits from this very blessed month. But of course, that is something that we need to concentrate on. Because we have been waiting for 11 months, and I hope we have been waiting very We've been looking forward to it, not apprehensively, but as an opportunity. As you look forward to a long lost friend, somebody you haven't seen for a long time, and you really love this person, and you look forward to seeing them again. That is the attitude we should have had, and I hope that we did have. Because that attitude is what determines how we treat this very close friend, and indeed you could say this visitor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the greatest of all humans. Because the more we respect, the more we appreciate this very blessed month, the more we are going to put into it. It cannot be for us business as usual. Because if it is business as usual, then we kind of miss the point of the blessedness of this month, where all good actions are amplified many times. Some say up to 700 times. So it would be a real wasted opportunity, lost opportunity, if we do not give this very blessed month the respect it is due. And why? Ultimately, what is the purpose of our existence? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us very clearly what that purpose is. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create insan nor jinn, but to worship me. This is the sole purpose of our existence. And we must never forget that. Every single day we need to remind ourselves, what am I here for? Not to educate myself, not to earn a living, not to get married. All of those things are part and parcel of life that we have to accept. But the prime purpose of our existence is to worship, which of course is something that we need to reflect upon. What does it mean by worship? Does it mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to just do salah day and night? Because that is the impression many people have of worship, of ibadah. When we look at this meaning of the word ibadah in its more deeper sense, we realize that actually any action that we do that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, any action that we do that does not displease Him, we are in a state of ibadah. Only when we go and indulge in an action that displeases Allah, we are going outside of that domain of ibadah, that state of ibadah. You are just sitting and listening, but you are in a state of ibadah, because this you are doing in accordance with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just talking to you, but I'm in a state of ibadah, because I'm also reminding you of our duties to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we are earning a halal living, we are in a state of ibadah. When we are even sleeping, the purpose of giving our bodies a rest, so that we are able to continue the day, that period becomes a period of ibadah. Therefore, let us understand this concept of ibadah in a much more broader sense, in a much more wider sense. And this is where, of course, Ramadan comes in and really emphasizes this, because when we are fasting, we are in a deeper sense of ibadah. As well as doing all the other things which are in accordance with Allah's will, we are also fasting for His sake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need our fast, He doesn't need our prayers, He doesn't need anything from us. But these are acts of obedience that He judges to determine whether we deserve His mercy and therefore Jannah or not. That is what this is about. And we need to make sure that we do not fail ourselves, because by not doing them, we are failing ourselves. We are falling short of what is expected of us as His slaves and servants. And that is why. Now, why does He emphasize when He says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Particularly تتقون. The reason He emphasizes this, that fasting was prescribed, it has been prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, in order that you develop taqwa, self-control, consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear of Allah. All of these can be interpreted as taqwa. Why does He emphasize taqwa, particularly in this month? There is a very good reason for it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the right conditions within this month. This month, remember, is a very special month. I mean, Muharram is a special month, Hijjah is a very special month, Ramadan is a special month. There are other months which have their own aspect, importance attached to them. But the importance of Ramadan is not just the fact that we need to fast in this month, and fasting is obligatory. Of course, we can fast throughout the year, as the Prophet ﷺ used to fast every Monday and Thursday, and the middle of days of each month, and other days as well. But it has been made farad in this month. But the other important, because this is the month of wahy, of revelation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen this month. Like, for example, according to Ibn Kathir, the suhuf, the pages that were revealed to Ibrahim alayhi salam were revealed in this month. The Injil to Isa alayhi salam was revealed in this month. The Torah to Musa alayhi salam was revealed in this month. And of course the Quran to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was revealed in this month. So it is also a month of revelation, a very, very blessed month. So why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasize taqwa, particularly in this month? The Prophet ﷺ has told us that when Ramadan enters, the gates of Jahannam are closed, the gates of Jannah are opened, and the shaitan is chained up. Interestingly, chained up. Who or what are the obstacles between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What are those obstacles that prevent us from being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Primarily the shaitan and our nafs. And in this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us that the shaitan is chained up. What does that mean? How does that affect us? If somebody, as this is one of the interpretations of this hadith, ulama say, imagine somebody is chained up against this wall. As you approach them, you can hear what they are saying. As you move away from them, what they say becomes less audible. You are less able to hear them. And of course, the only power the shaitan has over us is he whispers in our ears. It is up to us to obey or disobey him. He can't force us to do anything. It is simply a matter of temptation. He can whisper into our ears, we obey or we disobey him. What if we move closer to this person who's chained up? Yes, we will be able to hear them and we can be influenced by them. But as we move further away, that person cannot follow us. And therefore, we cannot hear what he's saying. And therefore, the temptation to do haram, to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, becomes much, much less. As we disobey Allah, we are moving towards the shaitan. And of course, therefore, we can be influenced. That's why in the month of Ramadan, I remember many people have asked, how is it if the shaitan is chained up, you can still commit sins? Well, that's the reason. But as we obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are literally moving away from the shaitan. See, outside of Ramadan, he follows us everywhere. But in Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us, he cannot follow us everywhere. As we obey Allah more, as we do our salah, as we attend the Masjid, as we read Quran, as we become more conscious of our actions, as we give more sadaqah and zakat in this month, we are becoming closer to Allah. As we become more conscious of what we're looking at, and we make a conscious effort to control our eyes so we don't look at anything haram, because we know it will undermine our fast and reduce the reward Allah will give us for that fast. As we control our ears, make sure we don't listen to anything haram. As we control our mouths much more, so that we don't utter anything haram, backbiting, swearing, etc. As we become more conscious of our entire behavior, we are moving away from the shaitan, from that person. And therefore, it becomes much easier for us to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, that is exactly our experience. In this blessed month, we are much more able to obey Allah than outside of this month, where the shaitan follows us everywhere, wherever we go. That is one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes taqwa in this month. He has made it easier for us to attain taqwa. As we obey Allah more, our level of taqwa rises. And of course, the second thing that is an obstacle between us and achieving nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is our nafs. And what are we doing in this month? We are deliberately weakening that nafs by starving ourselves, by not feeding ourselves. That weakens the nafs. And as it weakens that I want factor, we have greater control over it. You are starving, there's food, delicious food in front of you, and your stomach, your nafs is saying, feed me, and you're saying, not until sunset. That empowering feeling that you have over your body weakens that nafs. And therefore, again, with the shaitan chained up, therefore his influence is minimized, especially as we are obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as our nafs becomes weak, then the ground is very fertile for us to develop and really put the maximum energy into developing that taqwa of becoming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why this month is so important. That is why it is so important that it cannot be business as usual. We must take our focus away from the dunya and turn it towards the spiritual, towards our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what this month is about. It's a crash course in spirituality. It's a crash course in morality building. And that is why, my brothers and sisters, please, let's make sure we do not waste this wonderful opportunity. Who knows whether we'll be able to avail ourselves of this opportunity next year. We know so many people who have died between last Ramadan and before this Ramadan started. So many people, and they were no doubt looking forward to enjoying the fruits of Ramadan again, but it was not to be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had decided that last Ramadan was going to be their last Ramadan. We know, all of us, no doubt, friend, relation, old person, young person, whoever, we know someone who has passed away in the last 11 months. Who knows from amongst us who will be able to enjoy the fruits of Ramadan next year. So let's make sure this very, very blessed month, which is pregnant with barakah, with blessings, let's make sure we extract every ounce of barakah from this month by, as I said, minimizing all haram and hopefully cutting out all haram and maximizing all actions. Salah, Quran, doing good actions towards your parents, relations, neighbors, giving sadaqah. And of course we have our brothers from Interpal who will be collecting for Palestine, for Al-Aqsa. Brothers and sisters, make use of this month and give the maximum that you can. The brothers will be at the back collecting. Do not forget our brothers in Palestine who are suffering enormous difficulties under this Zionist occupation. So let us make sure that we cannot help them directly, we can help them through our pockets. But also let us make sure that in this month we are reflecting. What are the things that I am not doing that I should be doing? And then make sure that we make every effort to implant those within our lives. The things that we should be doing that we are not doing. Everybody knows what their failings are. I know my failings, you know your failings. So let's think about those failings and let's make sure that by the time Ramadan ends, that failing is no more a failing and we are fulfilling our obligations. Also look at those things that you are doing that you should not be doing. This is a time for reflection and for cleansing ourselves of all haram. We all know what things we are doing that we shouldn't be doing. Are we looking at stuff that we shouldn't be looking at, which is haram? Are we consuming things which are haram, alcohol or whatever? Are we indulging in gambling? Are we indulging in zina? Are we, whatever haram action, whether it's smoking indeed and shisha, these things damage us and many ulama have said they are haram. So let's treat them as haram. Let's treat them as evils. Let's cleanse our bodies of all of these harms which undermine our physical body and also undermine us spiritually. So my brothers and sisters, this is really a message for us in this blessed month. Let's make sure we are concentrating, we are meditating, we are asking ourselves, how could I improve myself as a human being? This is a month of self-development. Enormous self-development in terms of controlling our nafs and learning how to control it. Also, for example, if we have problems with anger management, we have short fuses, many people have. This is the month which is ideal to even control that. The Prophet ﷺ has told us, if you're going to get involved in a discussion which leads to an argument, just back off and say, I am fasting. Imagine the level of self-control, if we can do this for 30 days, we can do it for the rest of the year as well. Not to get into arguments, not to get into any kind of behavior that we know will displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will create a division between myself and brother or sister. So let's concentrate, let's introspect, let's reflect upon our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's cut out those things like television and all the other things which we know waste time. Think about it. Sit down for 5-10 minutes every day and say, what things am I doing that I can leave them aside until after Ramadan. And let's maximize my time in terms of reading Quran, reading tafsir, the translation if you don't know Arabic, understanding what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to do as His slave. I'm going to meet Him one day. Let's make sure that my book of good deeds is full and inshallah my book of bad deeds is empty. That is really what we need to be aiming for. And let's do lots and lots of istighfar, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for all our sins that we all know we are guilty of. And let's make sure that we use this month as a cleansing month to remove those impurities from our lives which become an obstacle to us receiving the mercy and the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار Ya Allah, all actions and ibadah that we have done, Ya Allah, we have done only for you, accept them from us. Ya Allah, those sins that we have committed, Kabir and Saghir, Ya Allah, forgive us those sins and help us to keep away from the things that you have made haram. Ya Allah, those of our parents, relations, friends and relations who have died, give them Jannah for those. Ya Allah, those of our friends, relations, parents who are sick, give them a speedy recovery. Ya Allah, those of our brothers and sisters who are studying, give them success in their studies and help them to use that knowledge for the benefit of the Ummah. Ya Allah, those of our brothers and sisters who are seeking suitable marriage partners, make that search easy for them and help them to find partners who will make them happy but also will bring them closer to you. Ya Allah, brothers and sisters around the world, in Afghanistan, in Somalia, in Pakistan, in Iraq, in every corner of the world where they are suffering, in Palestine and other countries, Ya Allah, help bring about a state of peace within their lands, so they are able to live in accordance with your will, Ya Allah. Especially help the Muslims of Syria remove this Kafir Alawi regime that is slaughtering our brothers and sisters and help them to replace it with a system, with a government that, Ya Allah, you are pleased with. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون